Welcome to the Horse Talk Show
You never heard of a talking horse?
with your host, Louisa Barton.
I want to be a famous rider. I should like to race.
Presented by Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital.
Truth is, I help horses with people problems.
Now here's the Brit on the bit, Louisa Barton. Yeah, baby.
The Larson family has been farming hay in Idaho for generations with a mission to always provide high-quality hay products at a fair and reasonable price. Larson Hay loves to meet new customers while always honoring the ones they already have. Find Larson Hay on the web at larsonhay.com, like them on Facebook, and definitely visit one of their locations. Larson Hay, Idaho's finest alfalfa, and our television broadcast sponsor. The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital. Thank you for joining us on the Horse Talk Show this week, presented by Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. Thank you to Larson Farms, our TV broadcast sponsor. Not only Idaho's finest alfalfa, but some really, truly wonderful people. I'm going to talk a little more about that later. I do have Maria Lacasse back in the studio this week, my co-host. She is a massage therapist for both equestrian and equine. And I can't believe that Dancing Pete is not here this week, and Maria is. And I think her hands are supposed to meet with his shoulders at some point.
We'll set something up.
Yes, we will. So, Dancing Pete, we miss you. We have a full studio this week with a great guest lineup. But we still miss you, so we wish you were here. So we do have Megan and Kolby Moore in the studio. We've actually had Megan in the studio before, which has been an absolutely wonderful experience. So good we had to have her come back and bring her husband along with her, and actually ran into them with Betsy from Larson at Sister's Place in Williston, the best food probably you've ever had in your life, unless you've been to the Blandy farm, which is pretty amazing as well. And we got a chance to chat to them, and Kolby said, yes, I'll come in and talk. So we're going to talk a little bit of cutting and Kolby Moore performance horses this evening. So that'll be later on. But we're going to start off with a little bit of news and some announcements. And of course, the Hobby Horse Equestrian Games is coming up on October 22nd. And that's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be at the Florida Horse Park from 10 to 4 p.m. We're going to do show jumping, dressage, horse racing, reining, roping, barrel racing, and a polo match, all on stick horses. We actually have top people from each sport coming to teach you the sport and then judge you competing with your hobby horse at the sport. It should be fun.
It'll be really fun.
I think it'll be a blast. You know, one of my favorites to watch when people do the stick horses is dressage. I was actually watching a couple of YouTube videos last night of people doing dressage on stick horses. It was pretty good. It was really pretty good. But I think it'll be a lot of fun. I think we'll really enjoy it. There'll be vendors, food trucks. Larson Hay is providing free hay rides. There'll be some horse demos. There's actually going to be a driving demo as well. There'll be a horse breed exhibit and then an all breed parade, and you can ride your stick horse in the parade if you'd like, as long as you stay clear of the real horses. Free admission for all ages. The parade is going to run between 2 and 2:30, and then we're going to have the horse racing after that, and then we'll wrap it up with a polo match on stick horses. So Ocala Polo has done a great job for us there. And actually, you can go to my personal Facebook. You go back a couple posts and you can find a picture of Jason Reynolds dragging a sack of hay through the donations. And I can't say enough about Jason Reynolds. Actually, he's such an amazing guy. He's one of my heroes, especially in this time of post Ian the storm, as far as getting all those donations and things there at the park for us and helping us to coordinate all of that. So he's been a real gem, and helping us to coordinate the Hobby Horse Equestrian Games, presented by Everglades Equipment, Leesburg, your local John Deere dealer. And then we've got some other great sponsors, Invictus, Larson Hay, of course, Ocala Polo, who've helped us, and of course the CEP's Equine Initiative presented by Piranha. So really a great deal of people who've got involved to make this possible. When we started out, as always with our CEP events, we were going to put money into the Equine Disaster Fund. That is also our education fund, a kind of split as far as equine education, equine disaster. But we're going to focus the money from this particular event to the disaster efforts for Ian as we continue to save up funds. So that has changed direction a little bit as far as the fundraising part goes, but to a very good cause, as so many horse owners are still in very difficult situation down south. Some other event mentions. Urban Cowboy Night, December the 3rd at Stirrups and Strides. That is in Citra on Highway 318. That is going to be at their covered arena, and it's always a lot of fun. Their annual events are fantastic. The event is 5 to 9 p.m., some country dancing. I have a feeling that Dancing Pete will show up here and make everybody dance. I told him
Teaching the dancing?
Pete will.
Oh.
I'm sure. That'll be a lot of fun. It's a great event, and all the funds from that go to the 501c3 Stirrups and Strides Therapeutic Riding Center, who help people who are both physically and mentally disabled to be able to ride, and they use certainly use the horses in their program to help those people and give them support, as well as veterans, and they help people of all ages, adults and children. So really a great program. It does a lot for folks with disabilities. So this Urban Cowboy Night's really going to help them out a lot. And don't forget the Dolly Parton contest. Diva like Dolly. You can do it. All we need to do is dye your hair blonde. We'll have to get you a wig.
I'll get a wig.
That's also December 3rd at 6:30 p.m. during the event. It's a $20 entry fee, which is the suggested donation. And I'm one of the judges.
Oh, fun.
Oh, you know, Megan Moore could do it. She's got the blonde hair and the tiny waist, and she's beautiful. That's it. She could be the winner. Diva the Dolly. Yes, for sure. So I think those are all of our events, actually, for this evening, aren't they? Yes? Do we have another one? We have one more. Oh, Nirvana's having their You Don't Need a Beauty Potion to Enjoy Magical Savings this October at Nirvana Medical Spa. They've got some fantastic specials. We've got those up there on the screen. Versa Lip Filler, True Sculpt, Fat Reduction, Secret RP Non-Surgical Facelift. Lots of great specials at Nirvana, so check them out, Nirvana Medical Spa Ocala, for magical savings. And don't forget that Piranha's Golf Tournament is coming up. The schedule of events here is up on the screen in December. This is going to be a really classy, top-notch event. I talked to Tom DeCillo today, and this is going to be phenomenally well done. $75,000 in prizes. Thursday, December 15th. Their guests will arrive and have a tour of World Equestrian Centre and check in for the hotel. And then there'll be a meet at the Marion Theatre for the screening of the Piranha Life documentary at 6 p.m. Friday, breakfast, registration, golf tournament, lunch buffet, silent auction. And they are also giving the money to charity beneficiaries. Heart of Florida Youth Ranch Equestrian Program is going to be one of them. And they are also going to be helping out with the Ian Storm victims as well with the money from this. So some top pros, golf with PGA Pro Ted Potter. So this is going to be a fantastic event. And then Rogue. Mallory Wheeler has been posting Rogue now since the storm, and she has upped the reward to $2,500. This girl, hats off to her for searching for this precious horse. My heart goes out to her. I can only imagine how devastated she must be with him missing since the storm. So if you've seen him, please let us know so we can let her know. And they are still searching the woods and the water areas all around the farm there, and searched miles. They've sent out drones and airboats and everything, and we're just praying for his safe return. He looks like such a sweetie. Mm-hmm. I would like to mention the Mangalaga Marchador, the national horse of Brazil. I got to have a ride on him last night at Claudia's farm, and he is precious. This is a 3-year-old stallion. This is how good Claudia Belandi is at CC Belandi, that this horse is just absolutely phenomenal. 3-year-old stallion, so well behaved, and has only had a few rides. I think he's only maybe been under saddle a few times, and he's just absolutely incredible. So I'm just so impressed with this breed.
So
Check him out.
for a 3-year-old.
He's amazing, isn't he? Got to wrap it up. Coming right back up after this, we've got Dr. Cayot. He's going to be talking about horse miscarriage. Stay with us.
This show is brought to you in part by DAC Vitamins and Minerals of Florida. All horses need a solid immune system, excellent joint support, a healthy gut, and DAC has all the vitamins and minerals they need with the NASC stamp of approval. So like them on Facebook now or go to feeddac.com. DAC, it makes a world of difference.
With over 70 years of collective experience in the horse industry, Lip Chip was built with integrity by horsemen for horsemen. Introducing the Chip Link system, powered by Lip Chip, where a 15-digit unique ID becomes a key to unlock not only identity, but also health paperwork, owner information, and even photos of each horse. So simple, even a child can do it. The future is here. The future is Lip Chip.
Justine Dutton, Grand Prix show jumper and previously international event rider, coming to you from Notting Hill Stables in Ocala, Florida. Here at Notting Hill Stables, we use Equine Therapy International PEMF Activomed blankets on all of our show jumpers. These help to relax muscles and promote blood flow and circulation. We use the Activomed blanket on a daily basis as well as at competitions. It helps us a lot at competitions, especially before they start jumping. The tense horses really like it because it just helps to relax their muscles so they feel ready and confident to go in the ring. After the horses have jumped, we like to put it on and it really helps with recovery. I would highly recommend Equine Therapy International and all their products for all your therapeutic needs. The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
Hi, this is Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
I'm Louisa Barton for the Horse Talk Show on Equus Television on all smart TV networks. And we're here at Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital in complete care. And I have Dr. Adam Cayot here with us. And we are going to talk a little bit about a topic we haven't covered before. Why Louisa's sweating so much. No. I'm not a non-sweater, by the way. I'm not crying. No. Let's talk a little bit about embryonic death, abortion, and then also cover a little bit on twins, because that's a different situation with horses than most of us. So share a little bit with us about some of the things that can cause an abortion in a horse.
Well, abortion in horses is a frustrating problem. Certainly, depending on the process, the owner and the veterinarian could have spent a lot of time trying to get this mare in foal and have her carry a foal successful to term. Can be very frustrating, to say the least, if she aborts or something happens to that foal after you've done all this work, spent all the time, spent all the money trying to get her there. Things that cause abortion, certainly viral things like rhino is known to cause abortion. There's other viruses out there that can cause abortion. If the mare gets a bacterial infection or a placentitis, where the placenta becomes inflamed, that can cause abortion. And then many times we don't know what causes it. It just happens, or unknown etiology. So those are the most frustrating, and unfortunately, those are the ones that happen most often, because a lot of times we don't have a reason for it. So that can be very frustrating. Certainly, if they have twins, they often abort. So as far as the twins go, we try to check for pregnancy approximately 2 weeks after ovulation. And at that time, you can typically see one or two vesicles. And if there are two vesicles, we typically, what we call pinch off one. So we crush one vesicle, and that allows the other vesicle then to mature properly and be foaled. Now, certainly there are stories out there of horses that have had twins successfully. However, that's a very small percentage, and probably less than 1% of twins will be developed. Will be delivered to term, and many times, even if they are to term, one will die or be really small and be not thrive. So we try to avoid that, and the best way we can avoid that is determining pregnancy early and reducing one of the vesicles so that the other one can mature properly. So if that is missed, and sometimes it happens, sometimes we don't know, or there's all kinds of things that can lead to why you would not know there's twins there. But typically those mares will typically abort around the 6 to 7 month time, and you'll typically see two fetuses delivered typically at that point. So this all kind of runs together. But certainly if you had a history of a mare that has aborted or has lost a pregnancy in the past, there are things that you can do. You can try to prevent placentitis or bacterial infection getting into the uterus with Caslix, with antibiotics throughout her pregnancy term. Make sure they're vaccinated properly. Make sure they have their rhino shots and those things. Everything you can do to try to prevent early pregnancy loss is what we try to do. Put them on a progesterone, like Regimate, and that helps support the pregnancy as best you can. So all my horses that have had a history of abortion, they basically go on Regimate from day one when we know that she's in foal, or even after she ovulates. We'll put them on Regimate or Altrinogest, and I will basically keep them on that until about 120 days. 120 days post pregnancy is when actual fetus takes over production of the progesterone, and then I'll typically draw a progesterone level on the mare to make sure that it's where it needs to be. And if it is, then typically I can take them off. If I have a particularly bad mare or one that has multiple early loss, then I'll just keep them on the regimen throughout their whole pregnancy, basically, because it's too much time, too much money put into trying to get this barren foal to take any chances. So we try to do everything we possibly can to prevent that from happening.
And so, if a mare has a bad colic during a pregnancy, is it very difficult? If it's a kind of a severe colic, is it very difficult to prevent a potential abortion from that?
Certainly, any stressful situation like that doesn't help us at all, and especially if it's a colic that they end up having to do surgery on. Number one, it can be, depending on where she is in her term, it can be hard to do the surgery because you got this big fetus sitting in the abdomen that you're trying to get in and work around, and the anesthesia is rough on them, and it certainly doesn't help holding that pregnancy. So certainly if that happens, we jump to all things that we can do, keep them on the progesterone, even sometimes give them some like ventapulmin or something to help relax that smooth muscle to keep the uterus happy. And we try to do everything you possibly can. Sometimes it doesn't matter what you do. She's still going to abort, but certainly you don't like that to happen when they're pregnant.
Makes sense, absolutely. And then does it ever happen, just to wrap this up, where a foal can die in the mare and then not actually abort on its own? Does that happen?
Well, typically if a foal dies, the mare will get rid of it at some point. Certainly it's not typical for them just to be in there and because they become necrotic, and the body says, no, this has to get out of here. It's not good. So typically that will happen at some point. Certainly it's not like, mares are not like women in the fact that we can't hear a heartbeat all the time. It's too big. You can't put the sonogram on the mare's belly and hear the heart beating and stuff. So basically at a point, we have to assume that Mother Nature is doing its job. And then certainly when it gets to a certain point, we can palpate the mare and obviously if the foal's moving and you feel the fetal movement, that's great. And everything's good, but it can happen. But typically if it does happen, the mare will abort the fetus.
Dr. Adam Cayot here at Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital in Complete Care, covering some equine abortion. We hope that we don't have that situation, of course, but good to know what to look for, and very important to be aware of the twin situation as well. Louisa Barton for the Horse Talk Show.
Thank you to our presenting sponsor, Peterson Smith Equine Hospital in Complete Care, and our broadcast sponsor, Larson Farms. Also, thank you to supporting sponsors, DAC Vitamins and Minerals, Seminole Feed Stores, Piranha, TT Distributors, and Midnight Rose Equestrian.
This show is brought to you in part by Seminole Feed Stores, family owned since 1934. Manufacturing fixed formula horse feeds with mindful monitoring and quality ingredients right here in Ocala in an all-natural, non-medicated feed mill. Seminole Feed, simply the world's best and safest feed. Like them on Facebook now or find them at SeminoleFeed.com.
If you're tired of the rigours of keeping your horse's water troughs clean and free of algae, you need the Drinking Post Waterer, an automatic waterer for horses, livestock and cattle. Field tested for over 40 years. The Drinking Post Waterer is the gold standard of non-electric automatic waterers. Check them out on Facebook or find them on the web at dpwaterer.com.
Horses. Piranha! Oh no! Oh, the humanity! Oh, piranha.
The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
Hi, this is Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Back on the Horse Talk Show, presented by Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. Thank you to Larson Farms, our broadcast sponsor, Idaho's finest alfalfa. Louisa Barton here in the studio with my co-host Maria Lacasse, and we have some special guests. It's good to have you back.
Hi.
We missed you, and my shoulders did too, by the way. We have some special guests in the studio. We have the Moore family. We have Megan and Kolby here from Kolby Moore Performance Horses. Very glad to have you both with us.
Thanks for having
It's
us.
lovely to have you back.
I know, it's glad to be back.
When you said it was like before Mother's Day, I'm like, what?
It's been a minute, and it looks awesome in here. I'm so excited to be back and to get to have some time with you again.
And drag the hubby back.
Right, absolutely.
Oh,
We
yeah.
talked about him so much the last time. I was like, might as well bring him in.
Might as well bring him in
Yeah.
so his ears aren't burning,
Right.
right? And we saw you at Sister's Place.
Oh, yeah.
I was
Oh,
there
yeah.
with Betsy.
Best place to get breakfast or lunch.
Isn't it? I know. Doesn't she do a phenomenal job? The food is like,
I need to go to this place.
You
Yeah.
do.
It's-
It's
it's-
like off the charts.
Pretty great.
It is pretty
It's a
great.
5-day-a-week thing for me.
Yeah.
You know, it's really funny, but when Betsy and I were there one day, we went for breakfast, and then we actually went back afterwards for like a coffee or something because we went over to the Fortner farm with Michelle.
Right.
And when we came back over, the same people that went for breakfast were coming back in for lunch. And I was like, that's convincing right there. When you want to do 2 meals a day in that
Exactly.
place, that's good stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, you don't get tired of it.
Michelle, we love you.
Right. I rarely have to cook anymore, so.
I know, maybe I need to move to Williston.
Right.
So, Kolby, we didn't have you in the studio with us, so I'm going to start with you. Tell us a little bit about how you got into horses. Were you a very young man when you got started?
Well,
You're
I
still
was-
a very young man.
Well, I'm a third generation. Fourth generation in horses on both sides. My dad's side, my granddad was a cutting horse trainer. My dad's cutting horse trainer. Both of them still train cutting horses in Williston. On my mother's side, my great granddad was an Olympic hunter jumper trainer. My granddad was a racehorse trainer, and then Mom showed cutters and hunters and everything else growing up. And
Mr. Multidiscipline. Okay,
Yeah.
I expect to see you on a stick horse at the Hobby Horse Equestrian Games in every single sport.
Right, all around.
All around.
Right.
You're the all around. That's great.
Yeah, and I started young riding and kind of had made the decision whether I wanted to do some jumping or wanted to do some cutting, and I kind of threw a little bit of a fit when they told me I couldn't wear my Wranglers at the jumping, so I decided to start cutting. And
you can wear your Wranglers at the hobby horse.
right. And started cutting when I was 5 years old, and had a good career in the youth as a non-pro. And about 2 years ago, gave up my non-pro card and started training for the public.
Wow, game changer.
Yes, ma'am.
So tell us a little bit about kind of how which you enjoy the most, and I'm sure you love being able to teach the sport to others, right?
Right. That's probably one of my main things that I do. I've always loved showing horses ever since I was a young kid and taking care of horses and everything. But around here, the people are one of the biggest things. I would probably say I equally love training young horses and training people in it just as much. Training something from the ground up and really knowing you taught that horse everything that it knows or kept it tuned up for what it does, and then the people that I've got to start from the ground up, that whether they barely had ever ridden a horse before or they've ridden their whole life, but I've always wanted to ride a cutting horse and didn't know how to get into it. And I've had some good success with some clients, and where they've started at the smallest level, which is the 2,000 limited rider or the youth, and they've gone on and won some pretty big things. I'm pretty proud of them, and I think I get more joy out of watching them do that than I do showing myself.
Really?
Oh, it's pretty fun.
So are you very competitive?
I
get the kind of...
I could say that.
I get that you get this little bit of an idea that maybe he's...
Well, I don't like to lose. Let me put it that way.
Tell us a little bit about what we have here.
Well, that's a picture of my beautiful wife showing her.
She is indeed, I would have to say,
playing,
extremely.
That's a picture of me in the background helping her in the herd, coaching her. And I think she won it this day, marked like a 73 or 74 to win the cutting that day. And she's done a great job with that one.
I've got to give a lot of credit to my mount, though.
Wow.
He does a lot of the work for me. But
when you got a good horse, this mare right here is my good mare, Highbrow Nadine. She's a Highbrow CD out of a Hattiesville pet mare. We trained her there at the ranch. Me and my dad did, and when I was a non-pro, I won a bunch on her. I mean, we won over $117,000 on her, and on a limited budget. As a kid, trying to pay all my own bills, and that's probably the only horse I ever came out in the black on from buying to the time I retired her. She's a pretty great mare, and I'm looking forward to riding some good babies out of her in the coming years.
Nice, beautiful picture. God, beautiful color.
Yeah, she's something else. That was the first finals I ever made in Fort Worth as an adult. I've made some finals there as a kid in the scholarship cutting, but that was my first big non-pro finals, and I think I ended up 4th or 5th in that finals, but it was a pretty big deal.
Would you consider that a defining moment in your career?
I would. It gave me some confidence that I could compete at a higher level, and gave me some confidence as I turned pro.
So when you're looking for kind of the ideal horse for you, mostly quarter horse sport, there's a few myths out there about horse hunting, right, in the cutting world, and the foundation quarter horse is not necessarily your first choice, and so you're looking for obviously very agile. There's a lot of athletic ability required, right? So what kind of things do you look for?
There's a lot of things. As far as foundation goes, I mean, all them foundation lines are still there. They're just way back. We've just bred them to be so specialized and so intelligent for what they have to do, because these horses aren't just machines. We don't just train them to listen to us and hope they move good, and if they listen to us good enough, they're gonna win. These horses have to have an instinct to them and their own mental thinking process, because that's why it takes us 18 to 24 months to train one of these things as compared to anything else. Is to get them ready to show, we've got to teach them how to instinctively know how to work a cow. And with our hand down. We can't pick her hand up and tell them where to go or anything. Once we get that cow cut, we've got to put her hand down and let them work. So it comes from breeding, and it's bred into them. Whether it's the highbrow cats, the dual rays, the Hodishes, highbrow CDs. We've got it so specialized now, and there's so many good studs out there now that when we go out there now, we just look for the best conformation and maybe what you knew about the moms and the dads. And the older I've gotten, the more I've gotten to train horses out of mares that I've rode in the past, whether it was as a youth that my dad trained or that now I'm getting into horses that I've had. Better,
now
I'm
you,
getting
yeah,
rides on.
once you've had,
and
right.
it's amazing what the similarities are, you know. And so when I'm looking for one, I'm looking for pedigree, and I'm looking for, you know, conformation and athletic ability. As far as a yearling, when I go to the sales, it's just no different than if you're going into the thoroughbred sales or anything else. You know, just looking for the best bred for the best conformation.
So it's quite and you've obviously got the experience, as you said, not just in your family, but even now with what you've seen you like and
Yes,
that you're
ma'am.
looking for. So that really helps when you know that pedigree's there, that you've got confidence in already, right?
Right. Yes, ma'am.
So how did you two meet?
Yeah, I was wondering.
How did the romance begin? Yeah.
So there's a story that we told our parents in the beginning, and then there's the real story.
So we'll hold that thought because that noise means that we only have 1 minute left, and I have a very, very special mention before we go to the second half of the show. Yesterday was a very special day, and I didn't know I missed it. And that was Isaac, our producer's birthday. So I can't sing. So I'm not going to sing happy birthday to him, but you guys can when we come back. But I just want to say what a special young man he is, how blessed we are to have him on our team. He's amazing. So happy birthday, Isaac. We love you. We'll be back after this break. Current equine microchips can migrate by up to 30%, causing difficulty when scanning. With over 70 years of collective horse industry experience, LipChip offers a new, more effective method of microchipping, partnering with veterinarians and technology experts to ensure humane and practical microchipping. LipChip was built by horsemen for horsemen. Nowadays, the performance horse industry is in need of both integrity and transparency. LipChip is the future of horse microchipping, with cutting-edge technology functional for every discipline. Find LipChip on social media, and for more information, lipchipllc.com. The future is here. The future is LipChip.
This show is brought to you in part by DAC Vitamins and Minerals of Florida. All horses need a solid immune system, excellent joint support, a healthy gut, and DAC has all the vitamins and minerals they need with the NASC stamp of approval. So like them on Facebook now, or go to feeddac.com. DAC, it makes a world of difference.
World-class equine rehab promoting faster recovery is available at the Equine Performance Centre Ocala. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy, an underwater treadmill, a saltwater spa, an aquapacer, MagnaWave, a vibration plate, swimming pool, massage and laser therapies. With post-surgical care, memberships, packages and BOGOs, EPC delivers a rejuvenated horse through proven and innovative rehab. Like Equine Performance Centre now on Facebook and find them on the web at epcrehab.com. The Larson family has been farming hay in Idaho for generations, with a mission to always provide high-quality hay products at a fair and reasonable price. Larson Hay loves to meet new customers while always honouring the ones they already have. Find Larson Hay on the web at larsonhay.com, like them on Facebook, and definitely visit one of their locations. Larson Hay, Idaho's finest alfalfa, and our television broadcast sponsor.
Welcome back to the Horse Talk Show.
You never heard of a talking horse? Well, listen to this.
With your host, Louisa Barton.
What does it feel like to be in love with a horse?
Presented by Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience.
Back in the saddle again.
Now, here's your pretty Louisa Barton.
You're fab. You're switched on. You're a bit of all right. Yes. Yeah, baby. Yeah.
The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
Welcome back to the second half of the Horse Talk Show.
And the love
presented
story.
by the love story presented by Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience. Thank you to Larson Farms, our broadcast sponsor, Idaho's finest alfalfa, and they are a great team at Larson Hay. In the studio, Louisa Barton with my co-host Maria Lacasse back in the studio with us. Midnight Rose Equestrian. She massages horses and people.
And egos.
Oh, and egos. Oh, good one. Yes, she does. That's right. Thank you. You do. She does. And then we have special guests in the studio. We have Megan Moore back with us from months ago, and I didn't realize it was. Time just flies by. And she brought her husband Kolby along, and we have been talking a little bit about cutting horses. And now we want to know about the romance. So what's the real story?
So the real story is we met on Tinder, and that was not approved by my parents at the time. So we came up with a story about how we ran into each other in town while I was working, and we rode that train for about a year. And then after they were like, okay, we love him, we
Then
told
you
him the
broke them
truth.
Tinder.
Yeah, after a while, after I was
Tinder.
accepted, it was
Yes,
all over from
yeah.
there. Yeah.
Now, not saying every experience on Tinder is probably going to end up in marriage,
Yeah.
but you might get lucky like I did. So
And how long ago was that?
that was
It's about
almost 7 years ago in April, so 6.5.
Oh, good. You're
Yeah.
past the
Yeah.
6-year age
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
good.
yeah.
It's been a minute.
yeah.
We just recently celebrated our first wedding anniversary last month.
Your
so
wedding was beautiful.
It will definitely be one I'll never forget.
The wedding was absolutely gorgeous, lovely. Well, we have some gifts for you here before we ask more questions.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that is from Piranha. And I know you guys have a lot of yellow in
Yeah.
your barn.
They got
Look at that.
the
We
best
always
luster
laugh.
ever.
Color.
I know. Look how great that
Right.
is. Gigi, that's that's photo worthy right there. Look at that.
Floating heads.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fantastic. I love the way they do that. I was telling them about that today. I was like, even though they're not green, they yeah, there you go.
They do the deal.
Yes, they're really nice bags, and they put
They
some
are.
goodies in there for you guys to try.
Fabulous.
And actually, their aloe shampoo, we're taking some of that down south for a lot of the horses that have been in the water, you know, and their skin's kind of sloughing off. And
Right.
this aloe shampoo should be phenomenal. And then lip chip, and I have another one of these that you can have. You can have one of these each, and you can have lip chip chapsticks as well.
Lip
chip is
chapsticks.
worth googling.
You've had to practice
Now
it.
say that
It's
5
very
times fast.
difficult. I have a terrible time with it, but lip chip's amazing technology they have for putting you've probably seen the commercial where they
Yeah.
put the lip chip and it doesn't migrate like it does from the nucleal joint, which happens quite a lot on the horse. And they have a phenomenal app and program. And he actually donated $5,000 to the Ian cause as soon as I told him that we were helping them. So big deal, great guy, Brad Boland is.
Yeah.
So definitely spread the word on lip chip.
Absolutely. That's
sure.
amazing what all of you and your sponsors have been doing for down there, for sure.
It's been it's heartbreaking and devastating to see people in a situation. It could have been us, you know.
Yeah,
So
Right.
easily.
absolutely.
Could have been us. Maybe, like I said, not so much the storm surge, but definitely all the other elements. And
Yeah.
when you think about owning horses, you're already stressed out enough about devastation and loss, and then you have large four-leggeds reliant on you as well, and that's it's a big thing. for
Well, and
people,
Florida's
so.
so unpredictable about where the storm's going to go. I mean, heck, it was supposed to hit us, you know, and then it ended up turning it in course and going down south. And, you know, you never know. You can never be too prepared.
No,
That's for sure.
That's
and sometimes you
absolutely right.
can't get prepared enough.
Right, like you can't prepare for your fences to just suddenly
No.
be flattened,
Right.
can you? Because
No.
you're not ready for that.
No. you
You're just
can't.
not, or for your feed room to be carried away in a storm and all your hay and feed gone, or
Yeah,
wet.
come
or-
back and your house is up to the roof in water. You know, it's a
It's overwhelming.
terrible thing.
So prayers for them for sure, and we're just going to keep on plugging away.
Absolutely.
Right.
So talk to us a little bit more about some of the. Let's do some myth busting. So let's say I have a horse. I think I want to maybe do some cutting on, and conformationally, pedigree and everything looks good, and I'm ready to give it a try, and I go out in the field with some cows, and my horse is not remotely scared of cows. He doesn't even care anything about the cows. He's not even looking at them. So I call you up and I say, Kolby, I got this horse that's not scared of cows. I want to try it. I think this horse is going to be great for cutting. What are you going to say to me if I'm a beginner and tell you that?
So what I'm going to tell you is this:
maybe the cow shouldn't be, maybe the horse shouldn't be that happy around the cow.
Well, yeah, it might need to have a little bit of interest. And I have people that do that. They come out and they have horses that may have some cutting bloodlines on there or something like that. They might be a 6-7-year-old gelding that's been day worked on, and they bought it, and it's a little cowy whenever it comes up to something, and that's all well and good, if you're going to go day working and cutting on the ranch, which is where it all originated. But to be competitive in the NCHA and the cutting, you need to have something that's had a little bit more training in a foundation, excuse me, to be competitive at that younger age. But there's not saying that's the only venue for that horse. I have people come in there with horses like that. We put a little bit of training on them, and heck, you can go into the ranch cutting. Where you can pick up your hand and you can still go and cut a cow without the difficulty of having to put your hand down and cut. I try to specialize more into the NCHA and try to teach people how to cut with their hand down and go cut. But when people come to me with horses like that, we can get them the taste of it and everything else. But if they are looking to be competitive in NCHA, even at a beginner level, we might need to reevaluate the horse situation.
So my horse not being scared of cows is not my be all end all. My horse is just doesn't care, right?
Right.
No,
right.
You kind of want to see a little bit of a
reaction, a little bit of a reaction, a little bit of a you don't want them to go running backwards whenever you see the thing, But just because they're not scared of cows, it's not a then they should be a cutter, It's just a lot goes into training them, and a lot goes into getting a horse competitive enough to show in it. But like I said, that's not the only place that horse can go show in. There's
other options.
There's other options, and with cutting training. Cutting training, that's the great thing that I love about this sport. Not only does it help a horse for my sport, but say the horse isn't cowy enough. I mean, it could have all the breeding. I've had highbrow cats that didn't make show horses. And what we'd end up doing with them, they're so broke and they're cowy enough and everything else, and they might cut a little bit, but they may not be open quality for what the owner wants or what I want. I'll sell them somebody, and they make great sorting horses, great ranch versatility horses, great roping horses. I mean, they're just such a great all-around horse because of how they've been bred. They've been bred to be trainable, and that's really what we look for, is how trainable they are and how cow smart they are. And the level of where all that is what determines their competitiveness as a cutter.
Very interesting. Now, do you take lessons with her?
Yes, I do. A lot of people suggest maybe don't do it with your spouse, but I'll tell you, Kolby is one of the most patient, and one of our passions is developing the passion within the rider, and he works with so many youth and kids that throw temper tantrums, so he can deal with me all day. But yeah, I actually, like I mentioned when I was here before, I never rode before I met him. My first time on a horse that didn't involve a helmet and a carnival was when I met him. So he's taught me everything from the ground up, and definitely Mr. Miyagi'd me. I didn't get spurs until I was washing horses and cleaning stalls for a couple months, and I definitely learned the basis of everything and how much work goes into it, and not always just the fun stuff. But I think and then being able to ride so many different things and develop kind of your knowledge of what you're sitting on and what feels like what, kind of all of that stuff is what's developed me into where I am today. And I have a long time to go, but he's definitely been the one that's got me there.
That's awesome. Great teamwork.
Well,
I can't believe that you weren't a rider.
Yeah.
No.
You met this horse guy on Tinder, and you're like, I think I'm going to learn to ride.
I was like, I like that cowboy.
Cowboy.
Right.
And those Wranglers.
Right.
We got to go to break, but we've got Megan and Kolby with us for another segment, so stay with us on the Horse Talk Show.
Thank you to our presenting sponsor, Palm Chevrolet, and broadcast sponsor, Larson Farms. Also, thank you to supporting sponsors, Equine Therapy International, Nirvana Medical Spa, the Equine Performance and Innovative Centre, Summit Joint Performance, and Equine.
This hour of the Horse Talk Show is presented by Palm Chevrolet in Ocala, where the entire team is committed to making your experience in sales and service hassle-free and easier than ever with no games or gimmicks. Come in and visit on Southwest College Road or online at palmchevrolet.com. A second-to-none experience with all the amenities. Palm Chevy, find new roads.
For equine edutainment at its best, join the CEP and Friends at the Florida Horse Park, October 22nd, 10 to 4 p.m. for the Hobby Horse Equestrian Games. Presented by Everglades Equipment Leesburg, your local John Deere dealer. Learn horse sports from the experts and compete from the safety of a stick horse. Enjoy a magnificent parade of horses, the vendor village, food trucks, and more. With free admission for all and for the best in horsing around, check out the Hobby Horse Equestrian Games on Facebook. Bring your stick horse or make one of your own while supplies last. See you at the park.
Nirvana, Ocala's premier medical spa, is leading the way in great skin with all the newest in treatment options, offering prejuvenation for younger clients and rejuvenation for all ages. Nirvana knows you want to look your very best, but we've all seen people with the telltale signs of too much work. We want you to look like you, just better, brighter and younger, with all the newest and best in technology and all in the most beautiful surroundings. Like Nirvana Medical Spa on Facebook and find them on the web at nirvanamedicalspa.com. Become a better, brighter and younger you. Piranha, your trusted leader in insect control for 50 years. The official fly spray for World Equestrian Centre. From the strongest water-based equine spray in the blue bottle to the familiar and long-time favourite in the yellow bottle. Wipe and spray, we've got you covered. If you're looking for effective plant-based fly spray, then look for our Zero Bite in the green bottle. Check us out online at piranhainc.com. That's Pyranha, piranhainc.com, to learn more about Piranha's entire family of products. Piranha, it works.
My name is Dr. Natalie Solomon. I formulated Equine with cutting-edge science and technology alongside the passion that is represented by a lifelong love of horses. I created a product that I would trust for my horses because they deserve nothing but the best for their bodies. Horses rely on us to take care of them, to love them, to respect them. This is how Equine came to life. Equine, CBD for your horse that you can trust.
The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
Hi, this is Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Back on the Horse Talk Show, presented by Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience. Thank you to Larson Farms, our broadcast sponsor. Idaho's finest alfalfa, Louisa Barton, here in the studio. My co-host from Midnight Rose Equestrian, Maria Lacasse, back with us.
Hello.
Our horse and person massage therapist. That's a winning team right there. You and your horse can both be comfortable, and she can make sure you work together as best as you possibly can. And she's probably going to pop out there. And have you ever massaged a cutting horse?
Have I?
The first time for everything.
That's right.
We have them all
I've done
family
rubbers.
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you? We have Megan and Kolby with us, and we've been talking a little bit about cutting. That was neat that Natalie's horse that was a cutting horse, right?
Right.
Was on the
Small
convention.
world.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Natalie's
I had
amazing.
that horse all through its 2-year-old year, and then she came to the house looking for a rope horse, and ended up buying that one as a rope prospect. Yep.
Turned out like to be a good thing, huh?
Yep. Oh, yeah. Yep.
That's fantastic. Yeah, Natalie's horse is lovely. My my mini horse is over there at her farm.
Okay. Very cool.
And her products.
Right.
It doesn't get any better than the Green Pharmacist, does it?
Only thing that can kill my migraines.
Yes, she's unreal. She's. I know people who've got off anxiety medicine on her gummies. I have a dog that's itched every summer, all summer long, that doesn't itch anymore from her canine. I know people who've used the Zen, who have horses who would never calm down in just a few days. Unbelievable. Made in Ocala.
Right.
Done right. Because honestly, I think CBD works if it's done right.
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
It's a matter about it
Exactly.
being done right. And she makes sure it's done right.
Most
so
definitely.
And her products are all checked, and that's just, it's amazing that Minnie that's at her house had laminitis. was on bute for 2.5 months straight every single day and hasn't had any bute since it was at her farm.
Really?
It's just on her relief. Yeah, that's it.
That's awesome.
And how terrible for a horse to have bute every single day, right?
Terrible on their digestive system.
Oh, yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible. And so now he's just on the relief. So, Natalie, we love you.
We do.
Yeah, nice horse, by the way.
Yeah, nice horse.
So, we've been talking a little bit about cutting. Tell us a little bit about the competition and so starting out when you're a beginner and you want to compete, and then kind of what your goal is if you want to get to the top.
Right.
And then tell us a little bit about your bucket list, because obviously you've already accomplished a lot.
So that's a loaded question.
Yeah.
As far as the competition goes, it starts all the way. You can start as young as 5 years old. That's how young I started. That was the first time I ever showed. I was 5 years old, and youngest competitors I have right now, or students, are 6 and 7. Finley,
really neat,
Finley Frost and Monkey Irwin, and Walton, Monkey Walton.
Monkey Walton.
And no, it's
so
a
little
great
kids
deal.
can get out there and just do this.
Man, that's my favorite part of the whole deal. I've got probably around 6 or 7 youth kids right now that I'm hauling around, and they're great. They're like little sponges about everything, and they love this sport. All the way from my 6-year-olds to my 16-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
They sit there and they'll watch cows with me. They'll watch me work horses, ask questions, ask if they can work their horse and how to get better at it. And I really enjoy that. My dad always, when I was growing up, always had a bunch of youth kids, and we would always hop up in the semi and all go to horse shows together. So those fond memories have kind of made me want to do that more with kids and adults too. I have plenty of adults that I love teaching, but don't tell them, but I like the kids a little better.
No.
Right,
yeah,
right.
no,
This is a secret.
You didn't hear
right?
that, yeah.
And but as far as my accomplishments go, what I've accomplished, I'm happy with, but I'm not satisfied with that. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot more I'd like to do. I'd like to make the Fraternity Finals and win that one day, which always working towards. Hoping I've got a good shot this year, but that's what you always hope for. And I've got a good Meekum Blue stud that I'm going to show, and I'm going to catch ride another horse when I get out there for one of my buddies. And so that's probably one of my main goals. And I'd like to get to the $1 million mark and make it to the Riders Hall of Fame. And that's a big goal for me.
Good goal.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
a good goal.
So it's just working hard. Just trying to get as many good horses in the barn as I can, and doing my job to get them trained, and hopefully doing my job in the show pen.
That's incredible. Good goals.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Good,
ma'am.
good goals. Yeah.
How often do you need chiropractic? Sometimes I watch those cutters.
So, funny you say that.
The whiplash.
Funny you say that. So I grew up with psoriatic arthritis growing up, and so I actually go to the chiropractor a good bit.
Yeah, I couldn't live without my Dr. Bruce. So.
My doctors tell me, though, that if I didn't do this, as much as I moved around and everything as a kid, it's the best thing I could have ever done for myself, because you're moving all sorts of different parts of your body, and having to move with that horse and everything else. And don't get me wrong, you'll get a little kink every once in a while, but it's definitely physically demanding a little bit.
And how about longevity of the horses? It's like how old do you usually? And obviously, I'm sure it varies horse to horse. But
Right.
as far as competing, is there an age that you kind of say the horse is kind of ready to go on and do something different?
So it depends. Some people, it depends on the goals of the people and the physical capabilities of the horse.
Mm-hmm.
I have some people that after their 6-year-old year and they're at aged events, they want to sell them and get something else younger so they can stay in those aged events. And I've got some people that like the weekend stuff that will compete on them for as long as they'll go. And as long as they're
How old was Doodle when I won my first buckle?
So the first horse
I
I put her on when she to show on, she was a 25-year-old Freckles Playboy gelding, and he showed 2 or 3 more years after that. Now
the horses are kind of like Kolby in that aspect. You keep them moving, they keep going.
Right. And it's the biggest thing's taking care of them.
Yeah, that's true.
And
Look, I had a 35-year-old horse that I could still ride 6 miles.
So
until just a few months before he passed. So
Right.
It's all about keep it moving, right?
Well, I had a horse one time, the oldest horse I ever had that was still competitive. He was the horse my dad won the Youth World on back in '91. His name was Sonny's Two-Eyed Doc. He's won the youth world multiple times with different people. Dad was the first one. My granddad did a lot of the training on him when he was younger, and he lived to be 32 years old. We showed him personally until he was about 28.
Wow.
And all he needed was his hocks were done fused. He never had a problem. He had one ankle he'd inject every 4 months if you showed him regular. I mean, it was unbelievable. I've got young horses that require more maintenance than what he did. Mm-hmm. And, we tried to retire him a couple of times, and, man, he'd go down and weight and stuff like that. We just think...
He didn't want to.
No, we'd go back to riding him, and he'd just bulk back up, and he looked like a dang 12-year-old. And we sold him to a little kid that won 2 years of the junior rodeo cutting on him, and he died at 32. Just a freak deal, and he was still looking good whenever that happened. Aww. So it just depends on physicality and stuff like that. But these horses can go a long time as long as you take care of them.
That's amazing. So we've got sorting, we've got roping, we've got cutting. What made, obviously, your family, was a big part of that.
Right.
But what do you think makes somebody passionate about one or the other? Because they all look kind of exciting and fun, right?
So, and I have great respect for all of it. I've roped a little bit. I would not call myself a roper. I've sorted a little bit and done pretty well there. Cutting has just always been in my blood, and there's so many variables to it that there's always something to learn. Mm-hmm. And when you go ask people when they're looking for horses, people are always looking for, whether you're talking about the ropers, the cutter, or the sorters, or the team penners, you don't see them asking for anything but cutting rejects.
That's so funny. Good answer. That was a very good answer. That was the sound that means we're at the end. I can't believe it goes so quick. Tell people real quick how they can find you and follow you.
Well, you can find me on Facebook at Kolby Moore Performance Horses or Instagram. Or you can give me a call, 352-299-5057. Give me a call. We can get you set up with some lessons or come out to the ranch and come ride a cutting horse.
Sounds good.
So you guys have lesson horses.
Oh, yeah.
We need to get you guys out there.
That's right. Stay with us. We'll be right back for the final segment this week of the show.
Thank you to our presenting sponsor, Palm Chevrolet, and broadcast sponsor, Larson Farms. Also, thank you to supporting sponsors, Equine Therapy International, Nirvana Medical Spa, the Equine Performance and Innovative Center, Summit Joint Performance, and Equine.
Hi, I'm Alan Davies with Equine Therapy International. Today we're at Engineered Equine Performance, celebrating the new saltwater chilled treadmill. This particular chilled equine saltwater treadmill is a game changer. As you can see, the finest materials are used. The filtration system, coarse, fine filtration, no chemicals. We use UV, ozone, combination of filtration to keep the highest water chemistry standards. Being a saltwater unit, only the finest stainless steel and materials are used. That's important when it comes to longevity and cost of service over the life of the unit. This unit also has integrated massage jets with fine bubbles and coarse air bubbles for the therapy. The control system on this is Siemens industrial grade, top of the line technology, straight from Germany, but also serviceable here in the US.
World-class equine rehab promoting faster recovery is available at the Equine Performance Center Ocala. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy, an underwater treadmill, a saltwater spa, an aquapacer, MagnaWave, a vibration plate, swimming pool, massage and laser therapies. With post-surgical care, memberships, packages and BOGOs, EPC delivers a rejuvenated horse through proven and innovative rehab. Like Equine Performance Center now on Facebook and find them on the web at epcrehab.com.
This show was brought to you in part by TT Distributors, dedicated to bringing their customers the largest selection of quality horse supplements, products, and farrier supplies in Florida at affordable prices. Also online at ttdistributors.com.
This show is brought to you in part by Summit Joint Performance, promoting a healthy, thick synovial fluid, decreasing inflammation in the joints and improving the cushioning properties of the cartilage pads. All age horses can benefit from Summit Joint Performance.
Maria Lacasse of Midnight Rose Equestrian's background is in natural horsemanship and dressage principles, with a main focus on maintaining a balance of communication and correct biomechanics, between horse and rider. Come to her farm, or she'll come to yours. Allow Maria to help you and your horse to unwind and balance, to increase performance, so that you can both be the best you can be, together, to build a lifelong partnership of success. Maria Lacasse of Midnight Rose Equestrian is a graduate of the Equine Natural Movement School for Equine Structural Integration and a Florida School of Massage graduate. Find Midnight Rose Equestrian on social media and on the web at midnightroseequestrian.com and book your massage for your horse and you right away. The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
Hi, this is Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Final segment of the Horse Talk Show this week, presented by Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience. Thank you to Larson Farms, our TV broadcast sponsor, Idaho's finest alfalfa. Louisa Barton in the studio with Maria Lacasse, and I have very special guests we've had here this week. It's been very nice to have Megan and Kolby Moore, have them back some more. They're going to have us over to the farm so we can give it a try. And end the day with some massages for the horses and people. But I want to do some mentions, and one of the things I wanted to say, and actually I don't have the photo, it's on my Facebook, you can find it, but I wanted to say thank you to TT Distributors. Dana, just a wonderful, wonderful guy. We gave him a call and told him that we had a need for some supplies for South Florida, and I gave him a list of some things: hoof hardener, thrush treatment. Oh, there you go. Well done, Isaac. Thank you, Gigi. Thank you.
The birthday boy.
Yes, the birthday boy. He's getting old on us. He's 18 now. But they piled us up with stuff, and I asked Shelby, his daughter, who's got the most gorgeous little baby that's just so adorable and smiles and smiles and smiles. And I asked Shelby for the bill to take to the CEP Foundation, and Shelby said, my dad said no. I'm not going to say, but it was a lot. So if you are looking for supplies, please go and shop at TT Distributors and tell them thank you very much, because for a smaller business like that, what he gave us was huge. It gives me goosebumps and made people cry. Able to take them so many things they needed. We took pitchforks and halters, brand new halters, and lots of hoof products, and he just loaded us down. So thank you so much. And you know, when you're thinking of shopping, go and shop at the places that support people in hard times, because it could have been us, you know, and to know that they would look after people in other areas, imagine what they would do for us if it had been. So I just think that's a big shout out to them, and also to Scotty McKee, who gave us 50 of his thrush medicine to take down south as well, and so many people to thank. Larson Hay for $15,000 worth of hay that they've donated to the cause that we've delivered down south. And actually that's not Larson hay, but that is some hay that we did take down. But Larson's actually donated so much hay that Richard Larson, I can't say enough about, and Betsy has been an absolute soldier, making trips back and forth with me, and Danielle McGinnity, and who's here on the left, and then Frenchie, who helped us load up, and there's Betsy, and then George from Gentle Carousel Miniature Therapy Horses, the 501c3, who, you know, don't charge anything for their services and depend on donations themselves, came to help us. And there's Jake and his lovely wife Steph. There's Jake from Pear Tree Ranch, and there's George, and they came and helped us too. And we Jessica Wellman as well from Procyon Training, and there's Betsy. She's just a warrior. We just kept going back and stuffing out everything in the truck, and off we go again, loading up, pulling the horse trailer down there with more products. And there's George from Gentle Carousel Miniature Therapy Horses, stuffed his horse box full of all the supplies that were donated to the Florida Horse Park. And just what a great team of wonderful people who, you know, spent their gas, their time, their vehicle to make these trips with us so that we could go and really bless people. And the White Horse Farm team, Manny and Kylie and Shannon and all of them there have been so helpful and been willing to be this distribution. And there's Santa Claus. There's Jason Reynolds, the executive director of the Florida Horse Park there, dragging he'd done something to his bicep and he actually wasn't supposed to be lifting. So he said, well, you know what, I can drag. So he went and got some bags of, that was just bags of really nice quality hay that was just all lying around. That we just gathered it all up because it was such nice hay and we were able to take that south too. So Jason, thank you. Did such a fantastic job.
And thank you, Louisa, for also organizing and putting all the things on Facebook and going down when there was flooding and back and forth, even though she's like the unsung hero because she doesn't give herself props.
That's okay. It takes a village, and we had a great team. And I couldn't have done it without Betsy, let me tell you, because I would have been asleep on the side of the road. I don't know how she kept going, but finally, I think on our second trip, she said, why don't you just take a nap? And it was like about the last 30 minutes. And I went, okay. and she said to me, do you ever sleep? Because I was texting her in the middle of the night. And then I was texting her at 7 o'clock in the morning. I have another idea. And she's like, do you ever sleep? I said, I think we need to go again. And she put up with a lot. So hats off to Betsy at Larson Hay for oh yes, and thank you so much to Mark Cassie, who I ran in today at OBS and saw him, Hall of Fame trainer. He's in the Hall of Fame in Canada and in the USA. You want to talk about a guy that he does everything just right. His staff love him, and they're all proud to work for him because he's such a good man and he's such a great trainer, and I just went up to him and was chatting to him, and he said, what have you been up to? And I said, oh, we've been down to South Florida. And he said, you know, what's it like? And I said, oh, it's terrible. It's so awful, sad. And he immediately donated $5,000 of feed and hay at OBS for us to pick up. So Mark and Tina, thank you so much. And actually there he is with Magic, who's in the top 10 most heroic animals in the history of the world and the only living one. Magic, the gentle carousel miniature therapy horse. So Mark and Tina there with him. So I just want to say thank you to Mark Cassie for being the guy that you are and having the heart that you do. That's a huge donation, and we're so grateful. So, you know, we've just had an outreach of amazing people. We've got a GoFundMe set up. Other than the admin fees that GoFundMe charge, we're not taking anything at all for our time or efforts. And the CEP is also set up a way that you can send a check in if you want to the foundation for the CEP, or you can drop off a check if you want to. If you want to mail it in, it's 310 Southeast 3rd Street, Ocala, Florida 34471, or you can go to the GoFundMe and do it there. So, but this is going to be going in. Oh, and you can also
look at that.
Scan the QR code.
That's it, right there. So look at that. Well done. So you can click that and get to it that way fast. So we really hope that you'll help to support this effort. It's going to be ongoing. You know, I think sometimes we think, oh, you know, it's all over. It was 10 days ago, you know, but it's not. This is going to be an ongoing rescue and an ongoing rebuild for many, many, many weeks to come. It's really, really sad to go down there and see everything that's happened. And our prayers and thoughts definitely go out to anyone who's lost somebody or lost their home or their horse, or we've seen dogs missing and all sorts of other things. So it's really a very, very difficult thing to go through, and very sad for all of those involved. So, you know, if we can just carry on donating, the Florida Horse Park's going to remain a drop-off point until the 21st of this month. So you can keep dropping off your donations over there. We've also taken a lot of dog food and cat food as well. And then don't forget that on a much brighter, cheerier note, the Breeders' Cup is just around the corner, the best of the best, the richest weekend in horse racing. And we'll be there, of course, at the Breeders' Cup, as always. And we will be mostly connecting you to the horses that were trained here or bred here in our area. So make sure you tune in for that very special additional broadcast. Thank you, guys, for being with us. Yep. Thank you, Maria, for being back. Dancing Pete, hope you tuned in. Whether you're in Ocala, Marion County, the horse capital of the world or not, happy horsing around. Till the same time next week.